One thing we did in Liberia, even during the Civil War, when the war was intense, we still kept our focus on education because we believe that education is one of the things that will help you get through life.
Even though I, grew up in difficult economic surroundings and the fact of, we didn't have money and my parents weren't able to provide, services or support like most American parents are able to give their children. One thing that they did instill in me and my sister was having a work ethic and pursuing education. I think no matter where you're born or where you're from, education is a universal theme that it provides you with opportunities in life.
Indian, as a culture, we give so much importance to education. And no matter what, parents strive to educate their children.
If you give the opportunity, if the US government, the US Congress gave the opportunity to the young people to study, to go to school, to go to the college, they would be doctor like me.
So coming to the US is nothing different because we already developed the attitude, we already developed the sense of education and the love for education. So we just pursue education and we have been successful.
Yet despite the importance placed on education by many immigrants, the puzzling fact remains that many immigrant workers are concentrated in either the very high skills end of the employment spectrum or the very low. A fiscal policy study conducted from 2006 to 2008 revealed that 48% of Minnesota's immigrants had professional or administrative jobs. 27% did blue-collar work, and 23% held service jobs. Therefore, the vast majority of the state's immigrants were employed in professional fields requiring highly skilled workers. Some of this may be due to the educational background immigrants bring with them. According to the Minneapolis Foundation, 32% of foreign-born adults hold a 4-year college graduate or professional degree, compared to 31% of native-born adults. Obviously, Minnesota and the Northwest Hennepin region are home to many highly skilled immigrants, and yet many of them are underemployed.
My dad was an engineer and my mother was a nurse back in Laos, but now they're factory workers here in the States, and they pretty much stayed there for the last 25 years, and they really haven't had the opportunity to professionally grow.
In Uganda, I used to work at Makerere University as a librarian, and when I left Uganda, I went to England, and I was looking for a job, and then some at the American Library Association headquarters told me that it would be better if you have masters.
A lot of the industries and services here in America obviously require credentials and educational requirements and so forth. So it's really sad to see the talents and resources of people get lost.
The reason for this is that oftentimes, the credentials and educational experience of immigrants in their home country do not transfer directly into the U.S. system. As a result, professionally trained immigrants are often forced to find low-wage, low-skilled work and then go back to school for relicensure in their field of training in order to find employment that matches their educational training.
I think professional development in the immigrant community is very challenging, and one thing that I learned or taught in my immigration practice is that you shouldn't let that limit or inhibit you.
So I repeated my library science degree in United Kingdom, and that qualification is recognized all over the world.
It's a difficult, it's a tricky, it's a long process. And one of the things that I figured out is how to even get the information that you need to get started. You get here, have no idea how things run, but have a dream to go back to what you love to do.
But for many immigrants, dreams aren't enough. Going back to school for relicensure often involves a host of obstacles.
There are two major types: individual barriers, and that's language, plus finance in order to help them pass the exams that they need to take for licensure.
While I was at Grandview, I did janitorial work. I worked 4 to 12. So after classes, I would go to the hospital and work. So by the time I get home after 12:30, I would be studying and falling asleep. It was hard. If I did not work and go to school, there was no way I would have gone to school because I was not on any sponsorship. I had to put myself through school.
Even though I'm the youngest in my family, I was actually the first to enroll in college and actually graduate. But it was tough. I mean, I remember my very first year of college, I didn't even know how to enroll in classes, what type of classes to take. Again, I didn't have a mentor or referral or network to say, you know, focus on your prereqs. You're going to change your major several times. It was very scary. I mean, to be honest with you, I felt very vulnerable.
Sometimes we don't get easily adjusted to the way Americans speak and taking notes because the American students we'll be in class with, they were born here, raised here, they went to elementary, secondary, they are used to the system. So we just come into the middle. Sometimes when you're in class with them, they take tests. When it's test time, before you know it, they are out because they know how to do the multiple choice. We were trained how to do the essay.
Another barrier is just isolation and feeling depressed about not being able to work in their profession.
I was encouraged to go to law school by my husband, and I remember going to my counselor at the U of M at that time, asking her what she thought, and she actually discouraged me from going to law school. She didn't think I had the experience or the personality to be an attorney. And so, and to be honest with you, I was very disheartened, and she was right to the certain extent in that I had a very mild personality.
There are many things schools and educational institutions can and should do to help immigrant students adjust to life in the U.S.
We had, they assigned us to look at farmers like in the NOLA. We are in like Thanksgiving or Christmas. We'll spend the weekend with the family. Families had to adopt foreign students. So we don't just have to be isolated during the American holidays.
We started hosting international students from all over the world to live in our home, and we provide cultural education and a homestay environment for them.
Getting to immigrant community, meeting people who are facing the same challenges, so that difficulties they have been through, you shouldn't have to go through them again.
And the financial problem can easily be solved through scholarships, but for it to be sustainable, we really need a loan program, study loans.
We're able to integrate ourselves into the society, and one of the things we did to integrate ourselves is to pursue education. And we were fortunate to go to the University of Minnesota.
In addition, returning to school for relicensure is not the only option. Skilled immigrants can also seek a credit evaluation.
Well, one thing people don't realize is that you can actually get a credentials evaluation evaluated by a professional credentials agency or a college professor who actually reviews the courses and even the work experience one has acquired in their home country or in their past experiences. And they're able to write a credentials evaluation saying that their experience or education is the equivalent of a U.S. bachelor's degree or an associate's degree or so forth. And I think that's just rewarding for people in itself because it gives them the confidence and self-esteem to know that all that wasn't wasted. You know, I do have something to offer here in America. And a lot of times when we have a culture where we just base things, you know, somewhat objectively in the sense where we just look at where did you graduate, where did you go to school, did you pass this, what license do you have to look at somebody as a whole and realize that their experiences is worthwhile.
The Foreign Trained Professional Program is a program that helps professionals get recertified in the area of profession. Initially, we started with just health professionals, doctors and nurses and other health professionals. But more recently, in the last year, we expanded it to other professions like teachers, engineers, accountants, and lawyers.
What the program did for me at the time was pay part of my tuition with Kaplan that I needed to go to Kaplan every day, days I'm not working basically, and study to take the exams.
No matter how it's achieved, the importance of education in adjusting to a new culture and becoming a productive member of society cannot be overestimated. The Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development projects that the industries expected to see the most growth between 2006 and 2016 are concentrated in both the high-skill and low-skill fields. With a little guidance, Minnesota's immigrant population can be available to fill many of these skilled positions by utilizing the work ethic they bring with them and the training they have already received from their countries of national origin.
Through our educational experience, especially at the University of Minnesota, where I went in 2002 and as an undergraduate and did political science and global studies as major and minor in African American study. It's one experience I will always talk about because I truly had a wonderful time at the University of Minnesota.
In this country, we have about 500 monks who have received doctoral degrees. 5,000, about 5,000 people in 36 years. I remember that in 1972, I was the only monk in the world to receive a PhD. And now in the USA, 2011, we have about 500.
I will encourage all of our immigrants who will be fortunate to watch this video to take advantage of the opportunity we have. They shouldn't limit themselves. I'm a living experience. I came in this country as a refugee, an immigrant. That doesn't mean it's easy. For me, it's not easy. It has not been easy. But I'm persistent and I'm determined because I know this community belongs to all of us.
I would like to encourage all the immigrants who came to the US, to live in the US, to work hard to build a new life in this country, and to encourage the young people to get an educational degree, a bachelor degree, master degree, and PhD, in order to be able to become active and a citizen of the USA, which is now our new home.
So this community belongs to all of us. And they all can do the same. If I can do it, they can definitely do it. They need the time for them to take the time to do it for themselves.